You've been playing that wrong. This is another in a series of videos about the board game Scythe, in which we discuss commonly misplayed or misunderstood rules. And this video concerns the move action. The move action is one of the more complicated actions in the game, and so I guess prone to some misunderstandings. And I'm going to discuss several of them in brief episodes within this video. Now in Scythe, mechs can carry workers. And if you're moving multiple mechs in a turn, one mech completes its movement before the next mech begins its movement. And this can create some interesting movement combos that if you can begin to master, it will help your strategy here. So I've set up a situation where I am Polania, I have 3 wood, and it costs me 3 wood to build a structure. And the structure bonus tile in this game would give me bonus at the end of the game if I place my structures on farm or tundra territories, which I have already taken advantage of by placing my armory and my monument on the tundra and farm territory closest to my workers here. Now I would like to position my workers in that so that I can build a structure on another farm or tundra territory, but unfortunately, as you can see, Crimea has taken over the nearby tundra territories, and Rusviet has already built structures on farm and tundra territories that are close because of the tunnel system. And so really I'm in trouble unless I can get all the way across the board there and get to those empty tundra and farm spaces there. Now at this point of the game, 2 things that you have to know, really only I guess one thing that you have to know, which is that I have unlocked the speed mech. So my mechs are capable of moving an extra space, but my workers would not be able to. And also, I've upgraded my move action to permit me to move 3 units instead of just 2. So how can I get there? It turns out I can get there. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to move this mech along with the 2 workers and the 3 wood all at one time from this tunnel space to this tunnel space. So again, all of these guys rode along for the ride, and that is the first of my 3 movements. Okay? Remember, I get 2 more units that I can move. I'm now going to move this second mech. He has not moved yet. And he, because these are all on his hex now, he can carry them with him. So he's going to teleport here with 1 move, and because he has speed, he can go here for a second move. Remember, all of these guys rode with him, first here and then here. And so that completes my second move action. And for my third move action, I'm going to take this worker and I'm going to place him on the farm space. Okay, so now I'm positioned to not only build this structure with the 3 wood, but if I can acquire 3 more wood, then I'm already positioned to build my second structure as well. So notice how far, starting from this forest space where we produced the wood, we've managed to leap all the way across the board, and the guy who's traveled the farthest is a lowly worker who can't take advantage of speed. And that's how you can chain movement actions and use the carrying power of mechs to your advantage to spread out. Sometimes your movement is forced into stopping. So at this point in the game, again, I have unlocked the speed mech as Polania, which would allow me to move 2 hexes. And I'm interested in winning back my monument there, winning back that hex by going to war with a Crimean player. I have more power than Crimea does, so that looks like a good strategy. And since I have speed unlocked, and I also have Riverwalk unlocked, and my Polania Riverwalk would enable me to go across rivers to villages here. So it looks like these 2 mechs could go 2 spaces to reach this Crimea mech. And it looks like my character could go 2 spaces to reach this Crimea mech. But actually, only one of my mechs is going to make it into battle, which is all I need. But that would be the case because of some sometimes overlooked movement rules. So at this point in the game, I've also upgraded my move action. I can move 3 units, and again, they have speed. So my attempt for my character to reach the Crimea unit is blocked by this encounter token. Encounters are not optional in Scythe. If your character enters the territory with an encounter token, its movement immediately stops, and you will resolve that encounter in the appropriate sequence, which I'll talk about in a little bit. So, now had this been a mech, mechs are not forced to stop for encounters, and he could have continued right on through, but it was a character, so that doesn't work. Okay, so I'm perfectly happy to take that encounter. So we'll go ahead and leave him there. Okay, now I'm going to move this mech, and he's also going to try to reach the Crimea character. But notice that there's a worker, a Crimean worker on this space. And again, the rules state that if you enter a territory with an enemy worker, your movement stops immediately. The worker immediately goes back to their home base, and you immediately lose a popularity for forcing the worker to retreat. Now remember, I have speed, but I cannot continue this movement. That mech's movement has ended. However, because movement happens sequentially, and this mech is now able to move, when he moves into this space, there is no worker to block his path, and he can move using speed, that second movement, to engage the Crimean character in a battle. Now we have all the movements ended, and now it's we've got to resolve this encounter and this battle. The rules state that combat occurs first, okay, and it has to occur first. You don't have a choice about that. If there are multiple combats on the board, then you can choose which order to resolve them in. But in this case, we have one combat and one encounter, and combat always trumps encounters. And that's important because the encounter might give you a benefit of some additional power or combat cards or something, but those will happen after the battle takes place. All right, now we have another situation here where Polania wants to go into battle with Rusviet and also wants to get those workers to that mountain space so that they can produce metal on a future turn so that we can finish deploying all our mechs. And at this point we have speed unlocked, so that mech is going to be able to go 2 spaces. And so if I take the move action, I can move up to 3 units, or 1 space, or if they're mechs or characters, they can move 2 spaces. And for my first move, I'm going to want to attack this Rusviet character. But again, I also want to get my workers to this metal space. So I will take all of the workers with me to this space here, and then I will take my mech and continue, because he's got speed, he can go 1 more space, continue into the battle with the Rusviet character. So it is legal, in other words, to drop your workers off in mid-movement. I have only used 1 of my 3 move actions so far, but I've kind of accomplished 2 goals with 1 movement.